Hello and welcome back to London Cycle Routes. Today I'll be showing you how to cycle from Finsbury Park in North London to Leyton in North East London. This ride takes less than half an hour and you can do the whole thing on quiet streets and protected cycle lanes. By public transport, the same journey also takes around half an hour. So cycling is a competitive way to make this journey. It also got a lot easier recently after TfL installed protected cycle lanes on a revamped Lea Bridge Roundabout. So I'll be showing you that later and talking about it in detail. If you find this video useful or you just enjoy watching it, then please don't forget to hit subscribe on the channel, as I try to post new videos just like it every week. I'd also like to say a huge thank you to everyone who supports the channel on Patreon. If you'd like to contribute too, then you can find a link in the description below the video. Alright, let's get going. So we're starting at the main gate to Finsbury Park and we're going to use the cycle crossing over Seven Sisters Road to go into Finsbury Park Road. There are some Thames Water works here that you'll have to negotiate around, and those works have been there for around 4 years now, and I have no idea when they're going to be done. They used to annoy me that they were taking so long, but I've kind of made peace with it now, and I'm thinking maybe we should have a 5-year anniversary party for the roadworks. As you can see, the streets around here are really low traffic, and quiet enough that people clearly feel comfortable having their kids cycling around. That's because of closures like this, which prevent motor traffic from using them as a through route. This isn't a recently installed low traffic neighbourhood. These closures have actually been around for quite a while, at least a couple of decades I think. But the concept of closing off through routes is similar, and the result is also the same. A really nice cycling environment and traffic sticking to the main roads and not using these back streets. I think that this little connector here is probably good enough to be a cycle route, it's so low traffic. But one thing that I would improve would be to take this zebra crossing coming up on the left here and turn it into a parallel crossing so that people cycling also have a safe way to get across that road there that we just crossed. It was pretty quiet when we went over it just now, but sometimes there is a little bit more traffic on it, so do be careful as you try and get across there. Make sure that you give way and look both ways. Another thing that could be improved is to take the old filters and just make them a little bit more permeable. You can see the issue here with this fire gate design is that when cars park illegally along the Keep Clear sign, it does actually block it. That wouldn't be so much of an issue if it was a bollard closure, which would be a lot easier to cycle through. We've now made it onto green lanes, which has some lightly protected cycle lanes running down it. You can see that there are some patchy sections with very little protection, but it's mostly ones like this along the whole route. My understanding is that Hackney Council has plans to convert this into a slightly more substantially protected cycle lane, and they'll be doing that in the next couple of years, TfL funding pending. Hopefully when they do that, they'll improve the protection through the junctions and the bus stops, which is a little bit ropey, but it does the job for us and we're only on it for a short period of time. We've now turned into the Stoke Newington low traffic neighbourhood, and all the streets in this area are extremely calm for a similar reason to the area which we just went through, which is that there are a load of closures and bus gates which prevent traffic from using it as a through route. This is a really large low traffic neighbourhood, and even though it's a relatively crisp day in March, you can see loads of people are out cycling, even with kids and families. That will be a really consistent theme as we cycle through Hackney and Waltham Forest to our destination in Leyton. These two boroughs have both done a pretty good job of putting in cycle infrastructure and calming traffic on their streets, and as a result you just see people on bikes and walking everywhere. It's a virtuous circle, and that results in less traffic in itself. Because this first section of route is mostly picking away through the back streets of low traffic neighbourhoods, it can be a little bit confusing to follow, even if you've watched this video. If you need a digital map of the route, you can download it in a link in the description below the video. It comes in a GPX format and you can use it on whatever app or device you want. I do provide maps for all the videos I do on this channel, even if I forget to mention it in the video itself. And if I do forget to mention it, then people usually ask, so I try and remember. Hackney actually has plans for 3 more low traffic neighbourhoods in the near term and a bunch more after that. The next 3 that it'll be doing are in Hoxton East, Dalston east of the A10 and Chatsworth Road just south of Lea Bridge Road. They've been taking their time developing these ones, but I'd expect to see plans for them after the London mayoral election in May. One of the reasons I would guess for that timing is because the council's not allowed to announce any major policies during the election period, which has just started. Talking of the A10, we're just crossing it here now. It can get quite busy, so do be careful as you cross there. It would be great to have some sort of improved signal or zebra crossing to help people get across on this route. We did run into a little bit of traffic back there, and that's normal. Although a low traffic neighbourhood is low traffic, cars can still access it, and sometimes just by randomness, a few of them will converge at the same time, especially if one of them is trying to do some sort of reversing manoeuvre and holding them all up, they tend to bunch together a little bit. Talking of LTNs, we're actually entering another one in a second. We left the Stoke Newington one a minute ago, and we're now crossing into the Hackney Downs low traffic neighbourhood. This has quietened down all the streets to the north of Hackney Downs Park, which is running on our right just here. If you want, you could cycle on the path through the park here, but the LTN means that Downs Road, which we're on now, is just quiet enough really for anyone to cycle on, even if you do run into the odd pirouetting car. But anyway, I'm looking forward to those 3 new LTNs I was talking about, and I plan on doing lots of routes based off them, as they will open quite a lot up when they are installed. So if you want to see those routes, do make sure you hit the subscribe button on the channel so that you're alerted when I post them. For now though, Hackney Downs LTN is letting us access a massive new piece of infrastructure that's gone in this part of town. What I'm talking about is the revamped Lea Bridge Roundabout. Lea Bridge Roundabout used to be absolutely horrible to cycle around. In fact, I tended to completely avoid it as it was a big, fast, busy road. And it is still a big, fast, busy road, but it now has protected cycle tracks running around it in all directions, so it connects nicely from a protected cycleway on the other side to this low traffic neighbourhood which we're in now. That means that it opens up loads of new routes and is no longer a barrier to cycling. It will open up even more when the Dalston LTN goes in, as that connects really nicely to the new Lea Bridge Roundabout as well. Apologies for the cut in the video there, by the way. I had to reshoot it as I made a wrong turn and the sun came out in the meantime. We're now on the Lea Bridge Roundabout and we want to go down Lea Bridge Road, so we turn right here, wait for the green light, which is a little bit slow, and then we head down the protected lane here. If you wanted to go to Clapton Road, you could have just gone straight ahead and you'd have ended up there. For such a useful and game-changing piece of infrastructure, you're only on it for a really short time, but that's how you know it's good. We're now continuing down Lea Bridge Road, and in this eastern direction, the path actually goes through Millfields Recreation Ground on the north side of the street. If you're making this journey westbound, then the cycle lane is actually on the road as well, with a protected curb. However, as of March 2024, it is actually still under construction and only certain bits of it have been done, which is probably why you do see some people cycling in the wrong direction on this side of the road. I don't personally mind too much, as it is quite unusual for a path in a park to be a single directional track. So I don't really blame people for not understanding it, especially when the other cycle lane hasn't actually been built yet. Hopefully that will be finished in the next couple of months. It is actively being worked on and they've made good progress since I last came down here about a month or 2 ago. What's great about these protected lanes being built and the Lea Bridge Roundabout is that they link Waltham Forest's amazing cycle lane network and LTN network into the rest of central London's network. Previously, Waltham Forest just forged ahead and built an amazing local network, but it wasn't connected to anything, and this solves that problem. The Lea Bridge Roundabout was a massive barrier, and it no longer is. It does mean that in the future I'll be doing lots more routes from places like Walthamstow and Leyton into central London and beyond, as it now connects up really nicely. I've always been a huge fan of the really high quality way that Waltham Forest builds its protected lanes here, and as you can see, a lot of people agree and are happy to have their kids cycle on it with them as well, which I think is a brilliant thing to see. For most of the rest of this route, we're going to be cycling directly straight up Lea Bridge Road, which has excellent protected cycle tracks just like this on both sides of the street. They actually go all the way up to Woodford in more or less a straight line, but we're going to turn off them quite a bit earlier, and I'm going to pick a very small back street route through a low traffic neighbourhood that will get us right into the centre of High Road Leyton, right by the shops, without having to go on any busy roads. By the way, there's some good London cycle routes news in the works. You probably haven't been paying as much attention to this as I have, but we are approaching 10,000 subscribers, which is great news. Thank you so much to everyone who's been watching the channel. People who have subscribed, left comments, liked videos, and everyone who supports it on Patreon as well. You're all fantastic, and this thing has grown into something so much bigger than I ever thought it would do. And I'm going to keep doing videos as long as people keep watching them. Now, I understand it's a YouTube tradition to do a question and answer video when you do hit 10,000 subscribers, so I'm going to start collecting questions for that now. So if you have any questions for me to do with the channel or to do with anything really, then just leave them in the comment below and I'll make a list of them, and when we do finally hit 10k, whether that's in a couple of weeks or a couple of months, I will answer them in a video. I'll probably also wrap up some of the common questions that people often ask below videos as well, as they do keep coming back. I probably won't use it to do route suggestions and work out routes for people, but do feel free to ask for those anyway and bring in suggestions or requests, as I do try and do videos of them eventually where they're possible, or if anything they do just give me nice ideas for future routes and help me understand what people want to see. But yeah, do leave comments below on what you'd like me to answer in the Q&A, and I'll make a note and I'll come back to it when we hit 10,000 subscribers. And if you're not already subscribed, then this is probably a good time to become one. Just hit the subscribe button. It's free, and all it does is put my YouTube videos on your YouTube homepage more often. Now we're turning off Lea Bridge Road onto Dunton Road. There is a drop curb there on the cycle track, but just make sure that you're waiting for a gap in the traffic as you cross the road. Fortunately, it was relatively light traffic when I went across there, so I could just cycle right on over. At the end of Dunton Road, we turn left onto Capworth Street. Capworth Street is mostly quiet, but at the far end that we'll be arriving at in a second, there is a big Tesco with a car park, which does attract a lot of people driving. So the traffic at this end of the street is a little bit busier than you'd like. However, we're going to dismount here as we are at the end of the video. We've made it to High Road Leyton, and we're right outside Leyton Leisure Centre and the shops. So thank you so much for coming along on that with me. If you look at the map here, you will see it's a pretty direct route, especially the bit on Lea Bridge Road, and it's all possible because of the new Lea Bridge Roundabout and protected lanes, which was previously a really big barrier. Do let me know in the comments what you think of the route and what you think of the Lea Bridge Roundabout. Have you ridden on it? What do you make of it? The light timings are a little bit slow, I thought, but maybe you've got a different opinion. And of course, do let me know in the comments what you'd like me to answer in the upcoming Q&A if and when we make it to 10,000 subscribers. If you're not already subscribed, hit subscribe. And thank you so much again to everyone on the Patreon. If you're feeling generous and you'd like to throw some money at me, then you can find a link to the Patreon in the description below the video. I will see you guys all again next time. Thanks so much for watching. Goodbye.